All right. I am sitting here with Tim Carvin, aka Harlem Hill Runner. At least that's what I call you when I talk to my friends about you, and my cousin Caitlin, who you always see in the park. Um, but Tim, what's up? Welcome to the Allie G Show. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. How's it going this fine day?
It's going. It's too hot. We were just
Oh my
talking
gosh.
about this in the pre-show. It's too damn hot. I'm dying outside, slowly melting, dying, all the things. But why don't you kick us off and tell the listeners a little bit about who you are, what you do, and where you're from?
Sure. I'm a runner in New York City. I've been running for probably like relatively seriously, like maybe 6, 7 years. In terms of just like, more than once a month or whatever. And then, I pretty much focused on like marathons and stuff as my favorite race, but try to do as many races as possible. I run with Central Park Track Club in New York City, which is one of like the big clubs in the club scene. And then I also do some like volunteering with Team for Kids, which is like one of the big charities in the New York City running scene. And that was how I really started my running journey, was kind of with them as well as Central Park Track Club.
Nice. I love it. I love it. I know we need to talk all things Team for Kids because you've
Yeah,
done
oh yeah.
quite a few races with them. And I know we talked a little bit about like what they have set up for you and all the fundraising, but would love for you to talk about that. But before we jump into that, why don't you talk a little bit about when you started running?
So like I had little running phases in my adult life. Like I never did any sports aside from like pee-wee soccer and stuff. And like I'm very tall, so I played like rec league basketball and stuff like growing
Hmm.
up, but was never athletic, always was, doing like plays and stuff like that instead.
Hmm.
And then, hit my 30s, maybe wasn't making very healthy decisions across the board. I was probably a solid like 80, 90 pounds bigger than I am at the moment. And, just run, not the same thing, you can be healthy, any size, all that good stuff. But for me
Totally.
personally, was probably a time to just, make some life changes. And, running kind of became big with that. So, for a couple years, did the very standard run a couple times a week, do my 4 or 5 miles at a nice
Hmm.
12-minute pace or whatever. And, that was good. And then when 2020 happened and the whole, everything kind of went wild, I did what everyone else who's joined this running boom did and just took running, started taking running very seriously and,
Hmm.
really getting into it. Right before like all the pandemic stuff happened, I ran two races with NYC Runs, which is like the little sister like running
Hmm.
organization in New York City. And I remember I ran a 10K first just to be like, I'm gonna run a race and just like see how this goes.
Hmm.
And then I ran a half and I finished in like 1:45. And like I remember passing like them saying like, the fast people are still finishing and being like, yeah, okay, okay, like I guess I'm kind of like good at this. And I remember coming home and just being like, yo, I think races are gonna like be my new thing. It was
Hmm.
such a fun way to do it. And then there just weren't any for like 18 months or whatever. So,
What a
that,
crazy time for real.
yeah, yeah, just a fun time for everybody. But in that time, I just started running, very consistently, running like 5 times a week,
Hmm.
increasing mileage a little bit. I even in June of 2020, on one of the day, it was like today, with
Hmm.
no fuel and no water because I was afraid of water fountains. I tried to run a marathon on my own
Oh my
and like
God.
made it like 24 miles before like my
I
body
mean,
literally broke. No, it was like a very good accomplishment. I was like, I did pretty
yeah,
well.
that's
And
pretty
then like
good.
my body just like broke down and I was like, I wonder why that happened. Like,
Yeah,
like when
maybe
you
maybe I
learn
should
like
eat.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, yeah, it's when I started training with people who knew what they were doing, and I'm like, oh, they're like eating things and like drinking water and stuff.
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
probably like the way to do it. So when COVID kind of started, going away a little bit, and like I got vaccinated and all that good stuff, one of the run groups, City Try, which is
Hmm.
another like they do races in the city, did these like socially distanced races where there was like a max of 50 people. You had to wear a mask at the start. You like started on a dot and like
Oh my
whatever.
God.
So I did two halves with them and like they went pretty well, but
Mhm.
like I really, really, really was like, I want to break 90 minutes, just it's like a round number. So I'm like, let
Yeah.
me do that. And then missed it in like they had a flat one on Riverside and missed it by like 30 seconds and was like, I guess that's something I'm never gonna be able to do. So
Hmm.
like I need to like go to a do a different distance or whatever. And that was how like I kind of fell into marathoning. And I think it was because like the time was such in flux or whatever, I was
Hmm.
able to get a Team for Kids spot in the beginning of the summer. Where now, like, you have to sign up with
Yeah.
that stuff, like, basically marathon day of the year before to like lock in there.
Right.
But I was able to just like, maybe a month earlier than like right now in the year, just kind of signed up and was like, oh, okay, I'm going to do the New York City Marathon. It'll be a
Yeah.
thing. And that just propelled everything ahead. That was like the first time I ever ran with other people. That was
Hmm.
like the first time I had any semblance of coaching, like
Yeah.
anything. And
Yeah.
like, so that was really when it was just like, okay, I kind of, see that this can be like a big community thing and all that stuff.
No, that's so awesome. And you know what? If I'm remembering correctly, I don't know if we have the same memory of this, but I think I first connected with you on Instagram after that NYC Runs Brooklyn half. I don't
Okay.
know how we connected, but I feel like that was the timeline because that was my first half. And I kind of also finished in the same time.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's how somehow, or we ended up in the same post of NYC. There was something where like we
I
ended up
believe
connected
it.
on Instagram. Yeah. And then I was like, I've been following you since then, and of course, it's incredible what you've accomplished. So that was one thing that I wanted to bring up there. I just couldn't remember. I was like, I think that's the same race, because
So
in similar time, but
so you're talking 2022, right?
yep,
Like with
yep.
that. So I
Hmm.
did that's like this is the race that like
This
anyone who
was
did it,
yeah,
I can talk to them about it forever. I did
yeah.
the full. It was like the
Okay,
only
okay.
time NYC Runs
Did it?
did like
Yeah.
a full on marathon. They had an Adidas sponsorship. They were like talking up this like
Man,
big thing. And
crazy.
then the course just like got completely changed. It
Yeah,
was
of
a
course, of course.
brutal time for everybody. They have not tried to repeat that race since, and
Yeah,
probably not like the worst move. But
yeah.
that was my second marathon, was that one. I had done New York
Crazy.
City the fall before,
Right,
was
right,
kind
right.
of my first one, and that was when like really kind of started to like catch the bug of all this stuff. And
And
you know
that's so wild. Like, what were you
yeah,
thinking when you signed up? You know me, I'm just kind of like, screw it. I'm going to sign up and like, I'll figure out
yeah,
how to get there after, right? And we talk, me and you talk about this all
oh
the time now,
definitely.
years later, where it's like, yeah, I signed up for like six other races today
Right,
and they're
yeah.
all in the span of 2 weeks. And we're just like, screw it. We're going to get it done. So, what were you thinking that first time that you signed up for the marathon with Team for Kids?
That was just like, okay, I'm gonna do my once ever thing. I'm
And
gonna
be
do the
done.
bucket
Yeah.
list thing. I'm gonna run it just to like finish and all that good stuff. And
Yeah.
then it was like the marathon, New York City Marathon's the greatest day ever, blah blah blah. Everyone
Hmm.
knows that. But like the training was really what like really started to get me, is just be like, oh, okay, this is like a lot of people doing exactly
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah.
doing, their way into this. You'd meet people who, had done 40 marathons, whatever, and it's just like, oh, okay, okay. So
I mean, it's going to be
this
you soon,
is
Tim. Come on.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But like, there is a whole other way that you could do this, because like Team for Kids is a lot of people. They're
Hmm.
people doing their bucket list item. They're doing their thing. They're raising money the one time, and it's amazing. They're my favorite people in the world.
Hmm.
Love working with a 7 hour marathoner. Like, couldn't be
Yeah.
more fun.
Yeah.
But like, it is a thing where it's like, also that put me in a situation where it's like, oh, okay, like I'm around like people who do this, and like a guy who I'm still very close friends with to this day, my buddy Jimmy and I were like the two Team for Kids people who were probably like a little faster than like the average people who were there.
Hmm.
So that first year, like a lot of the coaches, like it was kind of pointless for them to like, do like practices with us. So they hooked us up with what I do with Team for Kids is I'm a mentor. So
Hmm.
I'm not a coach. It's a thing like I I think by the end of this year I want to get the certification and all that stuff just
That'd be
to,
so cool.
yeah, I think it's like a thing I want to do. But like what Team for Kids does is they have an amazing coaching staff. They have people there who, actually know what they're doing. But then they have a bunch of people like me who are just there to kind of help and
Yeah.
just, run with the people, be with the groups or whatever. And my first year, I was just like hooked up with a couple people who were just very experienced and just kind of like walked us through the whole process. One of them was a member of Central Park Track Club, and he kind of brought a bunch of us in at that point to be like, okay, now you've done the one season. Now you need to work with like an actual team that, like
Right.
Central Park Track Club is a borderline athletic organization in
Oh,
itself. And
sure.
like, like
You guys are
our
amazing.
yeah, like my coach was at the Olympic trials last time. She's probably going to be there again, and it's just like
Awesome.
it's an amazing group, but it's also a very different vibe. Like when
Hmm.
my first year with Team for Kids, I'm just like, oh, I'm like the fastest person in the world. Like no one else has ever like done this or whatever. And then I go to Central Park and I run in the slowest pace group of every workout, and it's
Hmm.
fantastic. And I like that. I think
Yeah.
that gets me to get better. But like it's a definitely the two different worlds of that stuff. Yeah,
For those that don't know, because I
yeah,
think a lot of runners that are coming into the space as new runners and also like seasoned runners, right, who have been running for a while, I think what I hear the most often is, I don't know how to find a run club, or I don't know how
right,
to be a part of that organization, or I don't even know where to start. Should I run with Brooklyn Track Club? Should I?
right.
So, how did you first get involved with Central Park Track Club? Like, did you just sign up and then you just kept going, or like, how
So
did you get involved?
they're a little more like maybe selective than some
Mhm.
of the other clubs. Like there are kind of thresholds of like you need to have like certain age group percentages in various
Right, right,
races or
right.
whatever to kind of like sign up. But what they have you do is if you meet like whatever thresholds, you sign up a free trial, you go to a few workouts, and then
Mhm.
after you do, let's say like 4 or 5 workouts, you can actually like apply to join the team and stuff.
Cool, cool.
Um,
That's
so
awesome.
I think it's a smart way to do it because, I'm the first to say it's probably not as social a club as some of the other big clubs in the city that maybe are
Mhm.
more focused on the drinks after practice and stuff like that. Like Central
Right,
Park
right,
Track Club
right.
practices are business. I love it, but I mean, it's you're there to work if you're going. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
totally. I see your
Um,
Strava.
yeah, 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 exactly. Like, you're there. If practice start, morning practice this morning started at 6 a.m. If you are
Mhm.
there at 6:01, you're late. They've already
Right.
started. Like it
Yeah.
is, but it's been the best thing I ever did for my running. And with
Mhm.
like my professional situation and stuff, it's just, I'm willing to give that time. If I'm going to like spend that time dedicating
Right.
it to running, I'm good. I'm glad to do it like in that situation with top notch, people that I can work with, and
Yeah.
also like everyone to a person are the nicest people. Like I was very
I know, it's such a
intimidated when
good
I first
group.
joined. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like I was so intimidated when I joined. I would, I live not too far from like the north part of the park.
Mhm.
So like I do most of my running in Central Park, and like you would see these guys and girls, and just like, I mean, my God, they looked like professional athletes when they would be running. So I
Yeah.
was always just like so intimidated. But like as soon as you meet any, they're just running nerds like you and me. Like it's
Right,
the
yeah, yeah.
same
Good
across the
time.
board. Like
Yeah.
and it's very fun. It's fun, especially in like the New York City races, to like show up and it's like, okay, there's 250 of us in like a corral here. And
Yeah.
it's very fun to like run races with like the big group and stuff like that. So like
No, for sure.
I've very much enjoyed it.
For sure.
Um,
No, I love to hear that. I find when I'm training with people that are faster than me, or maybe they've been running longer than me, it helps me get better. So do you
oh,
find
totally.
that with
Yeah.
Central Park? I mean, you are like one of the strongest runners I've ever seen, and I'm not just saying that because you're on my pod. It's
I
true. Like
appreciate
I am not
it.
kidding. Like if anybody looks at your Strava, you're like, holy shit.
But
You do like
like
70-mile days, and I'm like, holy crap.
yeah,
I'm
like
dying.
but part of some of that, so it's a combination of like the Central Park as well as like
Hmm.
some of those, and I guess like some of these people that I'll talk about like from the Team for Kids world are now my teammates on Central Park. Like we all
Right.
kind of went over
Right.
together, but I think what made me stronger was not only training with these people, but I think also in the early days seeing like one of my buddies, this guy Martin, who's
Mhm.
someone who like I've been running with since like I joined Team for Kids the first time. He's like, a 3:02 marathoner. And like he would do his easy runs at like, 10-minute pace, 11-minute pace,
Mhm.
and just being like, oh, okay, so that's like an option. Because like very bluntly, like when I first started, even when I first started doing Team for Kids, I'd already run like pretty fast halves or whatever.
Mhm.
I ran the same routes and basically the same speed
Mhm.
every single time I would run. And
Right.
then I would just be like annoyed of like, oh man, I was running at, this pace yesterday. And then when I tried to do the same thing when it was 25 degrees hotter and I took no water and no rest, I was slower. And then like
Right.
I would get mad at myself, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like when I learned what a recovery run was, that was like the most exciting day in my running career where I'm just like, oh my God, you can actually go out slower and it doesn't hurt you. Like I'm just,
It's
and now
crazy.
like, you look at my Strava, whatever, if I'm doing recovery runs, I do them 3 minutes above marathon pace sometimes. Like
Mhm.
I am
Mhm.
more than happy to, yesterday afternoon, I went out with a friend. It was hot. It was gross. I had raced 3 times the prior 3 days. And I
Mhm.
was like, I am just going for a nice jog on the
Yep.
bridle path in Central Park, nice
Yep.
soft surface, like, and I view that as effective as the speed workout I did this morning. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just
Right.
like it's all kind of a component of all this stuff. And I think
Totally.
being around other people is how you learn it. Like I've read some books and stuff like that here. I've had like a cycle with a coach. There's a
Yeah.
coach, like I don't have a coach per se, but like being on Central Park, like we have a framework of everything when
Mhm.
it's leading up to the big marathons, like there are coaches and they are giving us workouts and stuff. And like, if I have a question, I can text them and just ask them. But like,
Right.
I set my own schedule. I don't have like a coach who on Sunday nights is, populating what I'm doing during the week. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Um,
No, and I think that's so important too, like for people to hear, especially the recovery part. And I am so with you. Like I
yeah.
used to be the person that was like no rest days or running the same
Right.
route, the
Oh yeah.
same, yeah. Like I was like, fuck it, I don't need to take off a day. Like I'll be fine. But it would be the same
You'll
thing
lose your
over and
fitness.
over. Yeah. Yeah. And
Take
it's
off one day, you're done. I mean,
I'm like
like,
I'm like, "It's over. It's
yeah, yeah,
over."
yeah. No,
And it's funny, I've said it on my pod before, like, I had to take a break before Boston this year for, like, literally
yeah,
3 weeks. I didn't run for, like,
sure.
3 weeks, and I was freaking out, and I
Yep.
was like, "Well, this is just gonna be" I'm like, "It's over. It's gonna be shit. It's gonna be over, whatever." And, like, to this day swear, like, I would not have done as well in Boston if I didn't actually, like, stop
Oh,
and chill.
absolutely.
And obviously, that's not, like, a normal case. I'm just saying, like, I think it's hard for new runners and also runners like us to be like, I need a rest day or like I should take a
Yeah.
rest day. But then when you do it, you're like, oh, I can't wait for the next one. Like, so when I make
Yeah.
it to Sunday, I'm like, yes, I love that Monday's rest day. My legs are like,
Yeah,
they're like, they're
right.
fine. I mean, to your point, it's like I had my back to backs this weekend and one was 3.5 hours,
Right.
one was 3 hours.
Insane.
Like Sunday it was insane, Tim. Like I ran,
Uh-huh.
I think I was in 8:45s
Ugh.
on Saturday, but that's like typically my easy pace is like 8:35 to
No,
9:35.
of
So I
course,
was like, all right,
absolutely.
like I'm 10 seconds slower than my easy pace, like than my
I'm
typical easy pace,
crushing
right?
it.
So I'm like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. And then Sunday I was like, yeah, no, like I'm gonna be in the like 9:50, 10-minute range. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, whatever.
Yeah,
But it's literally just about like time on feet and having those
totally.
recovery days and like staying at that pace. And you're living proof that you still get stronger and faster if you take recovery. So,
No, for sure. Like
you know,
recovery is important, and I also like one thing I've started to embrace the past maybe like like I've done. We'll talk about this a little more, but like since I've done that first marathon,
mhm,
I haven't skipped a marathon cycle. Like I've
yeah,
done
yeah,
a fall and a spring cycle
Hmm.
every single year, sometimes with multiple marathons in there.
Yeah.
And one thing that I have like really embraced is when a marathon's done or like a big race is done, like I really try to take a full 7 days
Hmm.
before I even like will go out for a jog, is really try to take that time. When I did my last cycle was the most miles I've ever done by like a massive amount. I peaked at 90 weeks. I'm sorry, I peaked at 90 miles in a week. I was holding like 75, 80-mile weeks for like my peak time,
Wow.
and got a little PR, happy with that, everything like that. Saw you at the
Hmm.
race; it was a good time.
That was
But
so
then
fun.
I took 15 days off after that before I
Hmm.
even ran. I don't think I even hopped on my bike in that time. Like I was just like, I need to not do this for a while, and
Yeah.
like it worked out nicely for me because most of my training partners were running Boston, which was a week after my marathon. I ran Jersey City. So I was
Hmm.
like, okay, I'm just gonna kind of like take off the time that they're taking off, and we'll circle
Right. And
back
it's,
after that's over. But
yeah. And I think we actually had talked about that because
yeah.
same thing, like Jersey City, I saw you like a week before and
Hmm.
I was running Boston. And then afterward, we were like, so how much time are you taking off? And I'm like,
Oh
I
yeah,
need
yeah,
a
yeah. Oh
solid like
man,
7 days plus because I was like you, like it was marathon training cycle after training cycle after training cycle
yeah.
with like halves in between and the little races or the 4 milers or whatever.
Right, of course.
But then you're like, holy shit, I got to this point and I'm like, I need 7 days. Like I need a full
Yeah.
7 days of like just rotting on the couch.
No, totally.
You know
And
what I
like
mean?
I think like and it's one of, like the head coach at Central Park, like is one of the people who like preaches this. Like I have a
Mhm,
friend who just did grandmas, which like
mhm.
she did great. The weather, I don't know if you like followed it at all. The weather for
Yeah,
grandmas this year was
horrible.
horrific.
Yeah, it's
And
horrible.
like she was going for some crazy time. I think she had a rough day, probably only ran like a 2:51 or something. So
No
she was
problem.
yeah,
No
so
problem.
back in the drawing board. But like she wanted to get out there running on like Wednesday of the
Yeah,
and like the
I
coach was just like,
know.
no, like
Yeah.
absolutely not. And it's like I like to hear that from people, like that's what's happening to people who are way stronger runners than me, and
Mhm,
like the coaches are way more experienced than I am
mhm.
preaching rest, because I do think it's such an important thing.
Oh, for sure, for sure. It's
Um,
so important and just so necessary, and I feel like it took me so long to figure that out,
oh
but finally hit that point where I'm like, "Yep,
yeah, yeah.
I'm taking off. We're done here
When
for a little bit."
I follow like one or two people on Strava. Hopefully, they're not going to listen to this. But like, I know a guy. He's like, I don't really know him, but like, we say hi to each other in the park and stuff.
Yeah.
He's on like a 2,000 something day run streak. And I'm just like,
Oh my
man, what are you
god.
doing? Like, this is
Come
not
on.
it's one of these things that I see and it like absolutely kills me. It's like when I see people doing that, when I see people who like, I'll see it sometimes with slower runners, they like convince themselves that they need to run a 20, like in the
Mhm,
cycle.
mhm.
And then, like you said, time on feet is what matters. But time on feet, if you're a slower runner trying to do a 20, you're running like a 5 hour long run. And
Yeah,
like, I feel like that's another thing that I see. And I'm just like, what are you doing? You are just setting yourself, like, you are
I
gonna hurt yourself.
know.
Like, this is not benefiting anybody.
I know, I know. I
And then,
just wish, like, everybody could have the same, like not the same thing across the board, but just, like, some advice if they're starting out, because I think it's true, like
mhm,
and to that point, I think it comes down to, like obviously, they're very different types of people, and some people are like, "Well, screw it, I'm gonna do whatever I want." But I think there's also a huge portion of people in that space that just don't know what to do, right? Like,
totally.
I've been there, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh my God, yeah.
and you know what I mean? And you're just like, "Oh, wait, like, I actually don't know how many miles to run. I don't know what pace I'm supposed to
Yeah,
be at. I don't know what an easy run is supposed to feel like," right? So I think a lot of people out there in that space, to your point, are just like, we're like, "What are you doing? You're gonna get hurt," but they just
yeah.
genuinely don't know. So I
No, of
wish I
course.
wish that they knew, like, I just wish there was somebody or some source, and I'm sure there are sources out there, like
Right.
resources that people can find, but I know, like, when I started out, I had no idea what the fuck I was doing.
No,
0.
totally.
0
And
idea.
that's why, I'll give like another like plug for Team for Kids here. Like,
Mhm.
I remember saying during my first marathon cycle to anyone who would listen, I would have hurt myself if
Yeah.
I just trained for that thing by myself.
Hmm.
But I went from a situation where I had nobody to just a situation where like Team for the goal of Team for Kids is getting people to the start line and to the
Hmm.
finish line. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
they're I'm not gonna say it's the same as like Central Park Track Club where they're like training people to like Olympic trial or whatever.
Right.
But it is like they're gonna get you there. And like
Hmm.
if you follow, I'm proof of it. Like if you just listen to their coaching, you're gonna do great. And like you need somebody. It doesn't have to be coaching or what, like it doesn't have to be that organization or whatever, but like it is very helpful. And that's why like not only Team for Kids, but like you see Fred's team, you
Hmm.
see like a buddy of mine coaches for it's whatever the American Cancer Society like team is, like
Yep. Yep.
these charities that is like a huge part of the especially the majors of marathon running nowadays. Which I
Yep.
mean, to
Yep.
me, anyone who's against that, I will fight them because like I
Same.
think
I was
that's just like
just
the
gonna say it.
dumbest opinion that you're
Yeah.
ever gonna have is that
Yep.
like people who are raising thousands or tens of thousands of dollars for charity don't deserve a spot are the
It's
dumbest people on the
crazy.
planet.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Yeah. No, I'm
but
with you.
I do appreciate that with like the bigger organizations, they do hire coaches and they do like give resources for these people because I think a lot of times what you get with these charity runners are,
Hmm.
I'll meet people who have run, their longest run, maybe they've done a 5 mile race, they've done a 10K
Hmm.
somewhere, and then they like sign up for the New York City Marathon, which
Right.
like, we all know like there's one thing to like sign up for a marathon,
Oh,
but
the New
then
York
you're
City is
also
like,
like signing up for a hard one. Like it's
I
just
know.
like, you know what I mean? Like I don't know if they like really realize that too. That like, oh, you're signing up for like one of the really harder ones that
Yeah.
there is. You were gonna blow yourself out. It doesn't even get hard until mile 21 or whatever. Like it's just like,
Literally.
yeah,
It's one of the hardest. I feel that
yeah,
way. And I know it's funny that you brought this up too. Like I think a lot of people have comments about like Boston charity runners in the same way, right? Like that they don't deserve a spot, which I completely disagree with. Like if you're raising
right.
$15,000, you should be listen, I'm not going to go out here and like air it out with the BAA and how they seed people, but like
No,
it
no,
should be based on time. But
I believe,
like they still deserve a spot, but then it's also just like I see people and they're like, "Oh my god, that was so hard." And I'm like, "Yeah,
yeah.
it's really fucking hard. Like it's a
Oh yeah.
really hard marathon. Even me, you, I'm sure like right?"
Oh yeah.
And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm on the Newton Hills this year and I'm like, "God damn it. Like this is just never going to get any better. It's never going to get
Right.
easier. It's only going to get harder." And yeah, so I mean, props to the people that sign up for the hard ones or sign up for New York, but you're right.
Right.
It's like again, one of those things that I think people just don't know or
Yeah.
understand if they're new to it. So I think that to your point, like the Team for Kids and other charity teams are so great in that way to give those people the resources.
Yeah, and like whenever I'm mentoring like with somebody like and they're a new person or whatever, like one thing I always try to like kind of find is, have you ever run any races before? Like, whatever.
Hmm.
And if they're like if they've even just run like a half, I'm
Yeah.
always just like, oh, you're fine.
Yeah.
You're like if you're at the point that you've done like double digits, like because
Yeah.
they've already started their training. We're more, we're 100 days out from New York or whatever
Hmm.
it is. So it's like you got plenty of time to get there. Like you don't want to
Right.
like scare people, but it is like sometimes you see people and it's like, oh, you like think you have a time goal and you've never run more than like 6 miles. Like I don't know, maybe you need to like reevaluate or
I
whatever.
know.
Like
It
it's
scares me. It does
yeah,
scare me. I just wish people knew
I know.
before. But I guess it's like and then on the other hand, it's like you don't know until you know and you're in it, right? Like
Yeah,
which is so
what?
funny. Like my first marathon, and I've said it on the pod before, like was Martha's Vineyard and it was
Yep,
a complete shit show.
yep.
Literal shit show. But I would do it again in a heartbeat. Like if it doesn't exist anymore. That's all you
Right.
really need to know.
Sure.
But
No.
you know what I mean? But it's like I would do it again in a heartbeat, but it was one of those where I sign up and it's like a tent in the middle of like a big grassy field, and the
Yep.
race director doesn't have the answers to any questions, and the tracking's not set up yet, and they're not sure about the course, but it's my Boston qualifier, so I'm freaking out. But then it's like the entire time before or leading up to it, I was like, I wonder really how it's going to feel at mile 20. Because I mean, I went up
Right.
to 20 in a training run, right? But it's also way slower. If you have,
Oh my
people
God.
have
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
goals, but it's like, you really don't know what you're going to feel like, even if you do train, or even if you run over 20 miles in a training run,
No,
right? Like
absolutely.
you literally just have no, I mean, I have times where I'm like, this sucks. Of course,
Listen,
everybody does.
I do long runs over 20 all the time. I've done
Mhm.
10 marathons now. I've done a couple ultras. And I mean, I
Sorry.
still have no idea how things are going to be going. In my,
Mhm.
like, I can maybe have a sense like early on, but like, you have no idea. It's just,
Right,
you
right.
get there. At least I know like how these things feel now when I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, that's really bad. This is going to like, these next, 6, 7 miles are going to be like really, really bad. Or if
Yeah.
it's like, okay, maybe I can like push through this or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's
No,
just,
for sure. It's
yeah, like,
crazy. It's crazy.
yeah,
It's such a weird thing, and I always have
yeah.
moments where I'm like, "Why do I do this to myself?
No,
This sucks." And then you kinda get over it for a little bit, and then you go right back into it. It's a
mhm,
wild, wild thing.
yeah,
But 10 marathons is crazy.
yeah,
10 is
yeah.
I'm
I've
almost
done.
at actually, I'm not, I'm almost am I at 6, 7? I
Okay,
don't know what I'm at,
nice.
but close.
Yeah.
But 10, do you have a favorite other than New York?
So it's like I've done 4 New Yorks. Like I always say, like I don't know that I could miss a New York marathon unless I was injured. Like
Mhm.
I'm not always. I'm doing Wine Glass in early October as kind of like my goal marathon
Me
for
too.
the fall. Yeah, right. So I'm doing that now. I am also going to do New York, but like I it's tough to dedicate, as everything we've been saying, like it's very tough to dedicate a full training cycle to New York City.
Yeah.
But I love the New York City Marathon, and it
Yeah.
is my most favorite day of the year. My friends like have a better day than I do. I have one of my best friends on the planet lives on like mile 7. So
Oh,
like
so
she's
fun.
hosting mimosas and bagels at like
Mhm.
8 o'clock in the morning. Like it's very fun that it like turns into a social thing. It's the greatest day in the city. I mean,
Yeah.
everything is just amazing with that. So like, I would say it's very, and it's the only major I've done. I've never done like any of the other
Oh,
majors.
really? Do you have any
Yeah,
goal to do the other majors? Or you
no,
just are
like
like, "I don't
so
care."
one day, sure, but like in my opinion, like I'm still kind of like chasing times
Yeah.
more than like chasing the stars or whatever. And like I have one BQ from like a year ago when before they like made it hard before they dropped the cutoff, and
Okay.
like I had a BQ by like a minute, which didn't
Mhm.
wasn't enough, but like I'm still, that's kind of what I'm chasing more
Yeah,
than like the
and, like,
stars
the
or whatever.
stars.
Yeah, and also like just if I'm gonna like get on a plane and go to Europe, I want to like do it to like eat and party. I don't
Agreed.
necessarily want to do it to like run and then just like lay on the couch of like a hotel room or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's like
yeah,
that's kind of always been my logic. But like one of these years, I'll do it. Like I'll do Chicago one of these years, or like kind of like ease into it a
yeah.
little bit.
Mhm.
Um,
You'll
but I
do
would say like,
Boston too.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
You'll
Like,
get there, you'll get there.
yeah. Well, and also like I'm turning 43 this weekend, which means like I'm getting close to
Mhm.
when like the times change a little bit. So like
Right.
being realistic, I think what my more likely thing is that like if I can just kind of like keep in shape for a couple of years, then
Yeah,
probably have a better shot when I turn 45. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
But like, yeah, so I think Wine Glass is probably my favorite, like across the board non New York marathon. I think it's like a very cool small town feel, but also
Mhm.
like feels like a very professional run marathon. It's been, they've done it like 40 something times or
Yeah, I was gonna
something.
say, it's been
Yeah.
a bunch of years.
The metal, hold on, let me, I have my little metal thing here. So like the metal is like made of like the glass that like they
That's
make,
sick.
like it's from like Corning, New York, which is like Corning glass is a thing, and it's like
Right, where they,
called
like,
the
blow
wine glass.
glass, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
okay. You
So
taught
like,
me all this because you
yeah,
convinced me to run it, I think.
yeah,
I that was you that originally put the idea in my head. I saw you did
no,
it. You
definitely.
did it.
Yeah, no, I'm glad. I mean, it's gonna be a blast. We're gonna crush it. It's little. I think we both have like other races before it. Then
Of
like
course.
we're gonna
Why
realize
not?
like Mid-August, be like, oh fuck, we have like wine glass in like
Yeah,
6 weeks. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Um,
Literally after the ultra, I'm gonna be like,
yeah.
fuck my life.
No, I'm with you. I have
Basically.
my ultra is what, like the week before yours, I think. So I'm just
Mhm.
like, which is a very different situation than yours. Mine is the nice social ultra that I'm doing. But
No, I
it's
love that though. It
yeah,
seems like it'll
yeah.
be more fun than mine.
I love it. I did it last year. It's the Warriors Ultra Run for like anybody who's heard of the fine 1970s movie The Warriors.
So good.
This guy like just has made it his mission to like organize this amazing ultra that starts in Van Cortlandt Park in the Bronx. The start is at about 1:30 in the morning. You finish on the boardwalk in Coney Island, completely unsanctioned. You're just like, everyone's in costumes. You run through, it's about 28, 29 miles.
So
I have
sick.
friends from college who like are coming up, who came up last year to do it. And like, we met a bunch of people there last year. So like now we're just all going to like kind of sync up and run it together. But
It's
like,
gonna be so fun.
it's those are also the things that I've started to try to do a little bit more of, just like getting away from the big organized like marathons and stuff like that. Like I think it is important to kind of throw some other stuff in there.
I'm
Um,
so
it,
with you. Mhm.
yeah, and that's like the perfect example of one is
Yeah.
like that race is it's I say race it's it's an ultra whatever. There's not medals, there's not whatever. There
Yeah.
are like one nice thing is because it's just such a unique thing, like crazy good photographers like come
Mhm.
out for it. So
That's
like you
awesome.
get insane pictures that come. Like
Yes.
I've had that happen from that, or this past Friday, no, Thursday night, Friday morning at 2 a.m. I ran one of the Orchard Street Runners races,
Mhm. I was gonna
which are
ask.
like, dude, those are like legendary in New York City. They're what like
Crazy.
they're so fun. But again, it's 2 a.m. We started at Grant's Tomb up on 120th Street, and then just like full send to Lower Manhattan, and like
So cool.
I'm a relatively fast runner, like in the New York, in like most races, I'll show up, like, whatever. I'm in A Corral, this or that. And like, I'm a mid pack runner in those races.
Mhm.
Like, the
Yeah.
people who come out are flying. But also,
Yes.
what I love now is I'm middle of the pack, but then there's like a ton of people. Like they've opened it up big time, and like you get a ton of people who are running their 11-minute miles
It's
through
so
through
cool.
the streets. It's awesome. It's fantastic. Like
I
it's
their stuff is so
yeah,
sick because it's so like to your point, right? Like and the one that I'm thinking about is
yeah,
Dirty Bird Run Club did
mhm,
an unsanctioned dirty dash and it was literally like a quarter of a mile
yeah.
and you're like turning and twisting and you're
I
running on
love it.
cobblestone and they're like don't wear super shoes and when I towed the line at that race, I looked to my right and I looked to my left and I was like, I am so fucked. Like I
Yeah.
was like,
Oh
there
yeah,
is
yeah.
no shot. And it was
Oh
like,
yeah.
you win the you if you're like top three in the first in that round, you move on, whatever. And I was like, there's no way I'm making it to the next round. Obviously, it
Right.
didn't. But to your point, it's like there, and I was very middle of the pack in that space. And I feel
Right.
like Orchard Street has done such a good job of doing that, but also like opening it up to be more inclusive of like everyone,
Yeah.
which is so
There's
cool. It brings
such
so many
a
different people together.
Yeah, and like there, Joe is like the main guy who runs it, and
Mhm.
like I mean, he's just the nicest guy. He's very like welcoming to anybody. Anyone has questions, whatever. He's the most like available person.
Yeah.
There's a couple other like volunteers who you see at like all the things who I think one is his wife or girlfriend or whatever. And like
Mhm.
they're very on top of stuff. They have like the best bibs in racing. It's a cool story. Like the like story behind all the Orchard Street Runner stuff is like the race I did was called the Bread Route Race.
Mhm.
So his dad was a bread truck driver in the city, like a delivery
Wow.
guy. So like it's literally like the route that he would like do with his dad on his truck at like 2 in the morning.
So
So it's
cool.
you have this like sense of what the city is, and it's
Mhm.
like you run, like Times Square is the single worst place in the universe. It's,
Yup.
I've lived in New York City for the better part of the past like 25 years.
Mhm.
If I find myself in Times Square, I have made a huge mistake.
Yeah.
But when I'm doing these races, it is so fun to run through Times Square at two
Yeah.
o'clock in the morning, and you have all the crazies looking at you, and being like, "What's
Yeah.
going on?" or whatever. So it's like
And they think
it's
you're crazy,
really oh,
which is funny.
absolutely, yeah. They look at you like you're the crazy people who are in the doing this, but like
Yeah.
it's really a cool thing. It's been fun to see it grow. Like I've been doing the races for a couple years, and I mean there were I think like 230 finishers at
That's
the race
awesome.
on Friday morning, and like when I tell you like like you finish your race and then you immediately just hang at the finish chute and like
So
scream for
cool.
people. I can't imagine the people who live around that place. They must get so pissed every like 3-4 months when there's an OSR race.
Yeah.
But it's like it is just like the vibes are crazy. People are cheering like it's the New York City Marathon. It's 200 idiots running through the
Running
street
unsanctioned
at
race.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's 2 in the morning for another, and like, but also like one thing I really like about them is like they've made a big effort. Like this time, you could really see it with like their like social media and stuff like that. Like
Hmm.
you know, trying to get like more women to do the race. They have
Hmm.
equal prize money for non-binary. Like the non-binary runner who won was third overall in the race. They're like run kind of professionally or whatever, but like
Yeah.
that's like what you get. But like they get equal prize money to like the men and the women's
That's
runner, which
awesome.
I always think is like a very cool thing. And it's like
Yeah.
for a small organization like that, I'm like, I think that is such a great thing to do is to
Yeah.
just like be like, no, of course, like this is how it's gonna be. But
Totally.
like, I think there were like, if there were like 220, 230 people, I think there were like 80 women in the race last time, which like
That's
two
awesome.
years ago when I did it, there was probably like not close to as many. It was very noticeable that maybe
Totally.
there's not as
Totally.
many. And like, I get it. You're running through this. It's a hard sell
Yeah. It's
being
like
like, okay,
2
it's
a.m.
2 o'clock in the morning. We're gonna just like run through, whatever. But like, you see everyone goes in. You're in little packs of people and like whatever.
Mhm.
It's I
I need
I
to
just
do
think
it.
it's good.
I
Yeah,
need to
you
do it.
would. It's a sin you've never done one. Like they're so much fun and just like the vibes are just insane. And then like I was saying, like some of the single greatest photographs I've ever had. Like I've never gotten a good picture from like a New York City marathon. You know what I
No, of
mean?
course not. But
All
you
my
get awesome ones
pictures,
from these all the time.
it's all my pictures I use on stuff are me at 2 o'clock in the morning running through somewhere or like whatever. And it's just like it makes it. But then like when you look at like the people who are taking the pictures, when you look, it's like,
Mhm.
oh, okay. Like the one of the photographers, I always remember this. I remember looking back at her like Instagram
Mhm.
and she was on when like the remember January 6th, like the crazy, when like people went into
My
the
god.
Capitol or whatever.
Yeah.
She was like there, like working news wise, and like she was the one who took the picture of like the dude with like the horns, like carrying the
Oh
podium.
my
Like
god.
that was like her picture, and
Like,
then
the
like
number
she's
1
there,
picture
like
everywhere
shooting the
because that
races. You know what I mean? I'm just
yeah.
like, oh, okay, like this is just
Wow.
like crazy. You know
Oh
what I
my
mean? Like it's
god.
yeah,
That's
yeah, like
insane.
yeah.
Talk
No,
about
I
capturing an insane moment.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. No,
holy
exactly.
shit.
Like, yeah, yeah, and
Wow.
like it's such a fun vibe. Like, I love those. I love the Warriors thing. I'm doing my
Mhm.
first take the bridge,
Oh,
or I think they're called like
yeah.
the bridge ones. Is the 10th
That's fun.
anniversary. It's probably like the weekend of your ultra, or like right before it, or
Yeah, I
whatever.
can't do it this year,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
and like I'm gonna be not in great shape for it, but like I want to do it because
Yeah,
it's one of these like it's my like mantra of the summer is like I just tried to sign up for like
just do
as
it.
many races as possible, and
Mhm.
like I cut my mileage down a little bit, and like because it's just like
Yeah.
the summer, man,
I
it
know.
is rough,
It
it is
sucks. It
yeah,
sucks out here. How are
yeah,
you, like are you a handheld water bottle kinda guy? Like, what's your fueling like? And also for a 2 a.m. race, like, what did you
yeah,
do? Did you eat dinner and then go to bed and then wake
yeah.
up? Okay.
So it wasn't ideal. There was a movie that we really wanted to see that was like only playing at the IFC Center for like a couple days. So we ended
Mhm.
up going to see the movie, and I got home at like 8:30, which like not late, but like not
You
ideal.
have to get up and yeah.
Ate like immediately, and then slept from probably like 10 to 12 ish,
Okay.
12:30, And like for the specific race that I did, it happens to be like 10 minutes from my front door. It's
Right,
one of
right,
like
right.
the
It's
real
a
nice
perk.
ones that just
Yeah.
happens to be like incredibly convenient. So like I luckily could grab a little extra sleep and ran. And then I mean I got home at probably 4 o'clock in the morning, just wired. Like
Yeah. How do you even
positively
go to
wired.
sleep? How do you even
Yeah,
go to sleep?
I sat in bed, like showered, ate some food, sat in bed on my phone, saw it turn to 5 o'clock. And I mean, it's a work day. Like I didn't take the day
Yeah.
off or
Yeah.
whatever. So I was like, okay, I need to like put my phone down and try to do something. So like I slept in a few hours and
Yeah.
like, just kind of cobbled through the day. But, again, it's worth it
Yeah.
for
No,
that
you
stuff.
have
But
to.
yeah, I was gonna say it's very difficult to do nutrition. Like if I'm doing a marathon, I'm planning on my nutrition 72 hours in advance.
Oh,
I'm doing
yeah.
all the
Yeah.
things. I'm eating all the potatoes and like whatever. Where like
Stack
for
of
this,
bread always
I don't
that
know.
you
I
post.
gotta
The half a loaf
yeah
of bread. I'm like,
yeah.
yes, you get
Stack
this.
of bread behind the most bland pasta you've ever seen, and just
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
whatever, just But like so for these, it's a little tougher. But like the goal is like I just don't want to like feel sick during the race.
Right, right.
And then like for water, mostly in the summer I carry a water bottle. Like
Hmm.
I try to, or like I'll at least stash one somewhere. Like what,
Oh, I
like if
was
we're
gonna
doing like
ask.
workouts, sometimes I'll just like stash one.
Yeah.
I also like do think like especially like Central Park, Riverside, like I know where the water fountains are and stuff like that. But like
Hmm.
I do try to really like prioritize hydration. But then
Yeah.
I don't listen to my own advice. Like this morning
Same.
I did so I raced on Friday morning, then I did Pride, the like New York Roadrunners Pride run
Hmm.
on Saturday morning, and then I did the New York Roadrunners Achilles run, which is
Hmm.
like they're two of like the greatest
The
organizations
best.
that you're ever gonna
I
find. The
know.
Achilles run is amazing.
I know.
So like did that in the heat on Sunday,
Hmm.
and then like also ran with a friend yesterday afternoon, and then all my friends were going to practice this morning. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll join. Like, I'll join for a rep, and then obviously just like decided I would full send because like I'm there with friends, and it's peer pressure
That's always
is a
how it
thing.
goes for
Oh,
me.
it's
Every time I'm
it,
like, I'm just gonna chill tomorrow, and then I get there, I'm like, nah, fuck it. I'm just
yeah.
gonna go.
Yeah, it took me like a year of being with Central Park Track Club until I
Mhm.
realized like everyone when they put their paces down for workouts, like that's like an estimate at best. And like
Yeah.
they're going to be going like 20, 30 seconds faster. And like and I love it, it's great, but it's like sometimes when I'm there, I'm like, it takes discipline where I'm just like, okay, no, I said I'm
Yeah.
running 6:30s. I'm running a 6:30 and I am 100 yards behind you, and you said you were running a 6:35. So I
Yeah.
don't
So
know
what are you
what's
doing?
happening here, but like yeah. So this morning I did. We had two reps of 1,800, 600, 400 with
Mhm.
like progressing up the speeds. The first rep like I did okay. The second rep and like so when I like I was hitting like mid sixes, low
Mhm.
sixes on those. The second rep when I did the 800, I ran like at a 950 pace,
Mhm.
including like walking for part of it. And then when I was doing the cool down run with my friends after, I just immediately left because I had to throw up in the bushes. And,
Oh God.
that's just kind of summer training. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like that is just what happens. But, tomorrow I'm going to either probably not take the day off, at least like have an easy run in there, and
Maybe
just,
not throw up tomorrow.
yeah, listen to myself a little bit more.
I
But yeah,
feel
like
that
it's the time of year. Summer running sucks.
so
I
bad.
like. I also like. I know it's the opposite of you, but like I'm just like allergic to treadmills,
Mm,
and maybe it's a thing that I'll get better about at some point. But like I like to go outside. I
I
work from
know.
home most of my days. I hang out in my apartment, which is great. I love my apartment, but like I will lose my mind if I
Right.
don't get out of the home sometimes. And
Mhm.
like running is a big part of that. And it's also like for me, like social stuff, like
I
running
know.
is
I
like
know.
such a massive part of like my friend group,
Yeah.
it's just like I have like, my longtime friends and stuff. And, I've been with my girlfriend for like almost 10 years. We live together, but it's like aside from that and like my few college friends, like most people, they
It's
have
running.
kids and, I'm 43 years old. Like my
Yeah.
friends are all like off doing other things or like whatever. So like, it's nice to just have like my like-minded, like run friends who is just like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, we will at 7 o'clock in the morning, I will meet you here and we will
That's
do
right.
this, like I run with like the same two people probably like 2 or 3 times a week who like they're both faster than me, but at least like we do like our recovery stuff together and
Mhm.
like, and if we're doing workouts, like we can kind of like make it work together or whatever. But it's just so important to like have people that like,
Yes.
you can that you can make sync up with all that stuff.
No, it's so true. I feel like my running totally leveled up in like the last 2 years. By
Yeah.
joining like some run clubs. Of course, I'm
Right.
doing some work for Backline and like I have that space.
Right.
But when I started actually running with other people that
Yeah.
were either faster than me, the same pace as
Oh,
me, maybe I was pacing them or I was trying to push them. And I've got myself involved in like all these different situations where like now I feed off of it. I'm like, oh man, I have to
totally.
run for 3 hours. Let me send out an SOS and see who's in the city that I'm in this weekend, or things like that. And it's so cool when somebody messages me and they'll be like, "Hey, I'm just thinking of Washington D.C. because I'm always
Sure.
there and I'm always running there. It's a great running city, and like I have a bunch of friends there." And I'm like, "Hey, anybody want to run today?" And like three people will be like, "Yeah, I'll join you," which is
Right.
so
Absolutely.
cool, right? And it's so awesome when you have those people to not only hold you accountable, but just kind of keep you company and be like, you're just like maybe you're not chatting, maybe you're doing some speed
Right.
work. I don't know, but I use it for like catch up time, and I love being in a space where like people understand what we're doing. I think it's really cool.
No, for sure, especially with like, when
Even
you're
meeting you
marathon
in the
training.
park.
No,
Like,
absolutely.
you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like when
No.
we laughed at each other and I was like, "Wait, I gotta get you on the other loop."
Yeah, no, but I mean, it's so important, especially with like the marathon training, where, a big component of that is your weekly long run or,
Mhm.
your weekly, a lot of times I'll do, on Saturday or Sunday, do like a 20, 22, something like that. But then also, maybe there's a 90-minute run in there of just
Mhm.
easy pace early in the week and like stuff like that. And like, that's the stuff that like I can do them by myself if I have to. I'm happy to just throw my shocks on and just like,
Yeah, just go.
listen to some music and like zone out. But also like if I'm running like 3 hours, like I would much rather be with my friends. And it
Yeah.
like is very helpful that like I have like Kat and Ryan who are my two like
Mhm.
go-tos. And usually it's like by Tuesday, Wednesday, we're like planning out what the long run's going to be.
Yeah.
Just it being like, okay, you're in town, you're the, like, are we going to be able to do this? Then it's, let's figure
Yeah.
out the route. Let's see if anyone else wants, like we have others, who are like, they're our speed, we'll be doing it. And also, in the time that I've been with Central Park Track Club, one thing that they've started doing in the past couple years, which I think is like the number one thing that's leveled up my training,
Mhm.
is like once or twice a month, they do team, they call them targeted long runs.
Mhm.
So it'll be like a long run that is also has like some workout components in there. And like we do it as a team. And those will be, you'll see at 6:30 in the morning on Saturday, there's 65 of us there, and
Right.
like you can feed off of that and just
Mhm.
like get at that. It's like all right, we're gonna take the park over for a couple hours and just
Yeah.
like do our thing. And like I feel like that's been very helpful just to like have when you have people who are doing it. And like that's one
Yeah.
of the nice things with being on a run club is you can just be like, okay, I'm running this race,
Mhm.
inevitably there's other people
Somebody
doing
doing
it,
it.
be it
Yeah.
some crazy unsanctioned thing or one of the major marathons. Like you can always like sync up with that stuff.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it. It does, to your point before, it does get me out of the house. I'm like more, I'm going to do this easy pace run on the treadmill because
Right.
it's going to keep me actually at an easy pace, which like I'm starting to get the hang of finally now that I'm running 800 hours a weekend.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
but, uh, but I also love that, like, getting outside on the weekends and getting those
yeah,
long runs in, especially with a track club or, like, even your run club, whatever. It's just
yeah,
it's necessary. It's so necessary in this space. And it's definitely something
yeah.
that, like, I learned about myself. Like, I never thought I would be able to run with other people because
No,
everybody's like, "Oh, you're too fast for me." And I'm like, "You don't understand. Like, I gotta slow down. Like, at
right.
some
I
point, I
love
have to
when
slow
I'm
down."
absolutely. If I'm on my easy days and I run into someone who like maybe we run different race paces, whatever. Like
Yeah.
I've always had. I'm like, oh man, you're running 10:20s. Let's do it.
Like,
Like
let's
this
take
sounds
it. I'll
wonderful.
take
Let's talk for the next half hour. This is fine. Like
I
I'll
know.
if I got to throw some strides in at the end or whatever, I will. But like
Yeah.
I am happy to sync up with anybody. You know,
No, same,
like
same. I know
yeah,
we've tried to do it a few times. I feel like I see you in passing, but then the one time we
yeah,
coordinated, I was super late.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I, like, shared my location, you're like, "Wait, you're still in New Jersey?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
Yeah, but I'll
Yeah,
make
like
it.
it's I think part of it is like I feel like my friends and I are very much early morning
Same.
people, but
I
it is
usually am.
all yeah, it is just like even on weekends, like I'm happy to wake up at 5 and get out at 6 and get my run done. And listen, I'm coming back and going to bed or something, but like I'm happy to just get it done,
Get it
especially in
done.
the
Yeah.
summer
Oh, you
where
have
it's
to.
just like,
It's too hot.
it is oppressive. Like it just, you got to kind of, do what's best for any of that stuff. But
No,
it,
for
it
sure.
is, it is a helpful thing to just find people who are like, not only run like, maybe close to your speed or whatever, but just are kind of like in the same like mindset as you. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
my one friend, Kat, who I run with many mornings every week, like
Mhm.
she's on air on Bloomberg like
Yeah. I mean,
most days. So like she needs to like be there and like ready to roll at
mhm.
like 9 o'clock or whatever. So it just makes it that okay, we're meeting at 7 o'clock, not 7:15. We are meeting at seven
7
o'clock.
and
We're
you're
doing this,
starting
we're doing
at
that.
7.
And I love it. Like, like I run a business from my house. Like I try to be back here in like in work mode by a certain time. So it's like
Right.
I'm happy to do it. And like, you can just make things like work out in that.
Yeah. No, I think to
Um,
that point, it's like, at least for me, it helps me at work too and, like, get into work mode. To your point, like, it kinda helps me structure my day when I get up super
oh
early,
yeah.
get the run done. Because, like, I don't want it lingering over my head, and B, I
No,
know I'm not doing it at
no.
night. Like, I just know I'm not
Yeah.
a night runner, so I'm like, I mean, like, if I'm with a group, yeah, but if it's just, like, an easy
Right.
run or a long run and I have to do it by myself, like, totally not a night runner, and it just sets the tone for the entire day.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, no, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
We're
I'll do nighttime. So like I do a lot of like Central Park Track Club. We have like morning crew, which is almost like a little offshoot where sometimes the coaches will come, but it's more just like people who are on the team meet at a certain place and just do the workout
Mhm,
because it's the
mhm,
morning and not like the regular time. Or our workouts are like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night during the week.
mhm.
That's a time that like I will go do them because like I like to go to the team workouts. I like to run with friends, but
Oh,
it
for
like
sure.
gets me to do it. Or Team for Kids is at night, so like I'll do that. But that like takes me out of out of like my comfort zone to do that stuff,
Mhm.
which I don't think is the worst thing. But
No,
if
definitely not.
I'm
Yeah.
like making my own schedule, I'm running at 6:15 is when I'm leaving the
Yeah.
house. Want
Mhm,
to be back, 7:30. If I can be like at my computer working at 8:05 or what, like
mhm.
that's ideal. So it's like I do try to do that,
Yeah.
and
No, I'm the
just go
same
from
way.
there.
I'm the
If
exact
I'm
same.
in like max training mode with like max mileage and stuff, like I am a big lover of doubles. Like
Mhm.
I
Same.
love doing 10-mile workout in the morning and then like a 30-minute double in the afternoon at
Mhm.
like a 12-minute pace or something. Like
Yep.
I'm a big fan of doing that. So like that I can do. I'll do like my favorite double is put the laundry in the dryer for 45 minutes, immediately run out, run for 40 minutes, come back and like get the clothes. You know what I
That's
mean? Like
so
I
smart.
love like I'll do that as
Yeah.
like, an evening run. But like if I need to do like a workout or God forbid like a long run and I leave it until like late in the day,
Oh,
I'm
I'll
just like
never do it.
it's yeah,
Or I'll
like
just be
that's a
miserable.
nightmare.
I would be so
Yeah,
miserable the entire time.
exactly.
It'd be horrible.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
can't.
exactly. So, I do try, and especially like with the long runs, I just feel like, I feel like you and I always have like our Saturday conversations where it's just like, okay, I'm dead. Like,
Yeah.
it's very tough to like do a long run and then like function immediately after. So
Oh
I'm
yeah.
always like, okay, I need to like, do this, be in a space where like if we're going out at like 5 o'clock at night, I want to be home at like noon. That way I can just
Exactly.
like strap into the Normatex, eat
Yep.
some just like disgusting food, and just like drink coffee until like I feel like a human again. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, because my brain, like,
Um,
just doesn't function. Like,
no,
I cannot formulate sentences after a
yeah,
long run, and I just
nah,
to your point, you just need to be in that space, and
yeah,
if anybody wants me to be a functioning human, by the end of the day, I need to, like, be n
yeah.
not even horizontal, I just need to be in my Normatex. I
No,
need
just
to
leave
be
me alone
chilling,
for
I
a
need to be
while.
eating. Like
Yeah, yeah. Like if I'm gonna watch, I'll watch some like garbage, like
Mhm.
MasterChef or something. Like let me just like watch
Yes.
something I don't have to use my brain. I'm not gonna like watch a
Yes.
movie I have to think about and like whatever. So it's like yeah. So, but I think also just like that's also the experience of having done this for now a few years. Is like,
Mhm.
okay, I know what you try to set yourself up for success and just be like, okay, I want to make it to a point where, I like to have my Saturday meal planned. Like maybe I don't
Yep.
have it. Sometimes I have it. Like sometimes, like if I'm getting pizza and I know that I'm gonna like be back from my run at like 10 o'clock, and the good pizza place in our neighborhood's not open until 1.
Mhm.
I'll get it like the night before, so that's just ready to go, and then like heat it up in the oven when I come home or whatever.
Yep.
Like try to make it that okay. There is like something I can eat. I'm not gonna just be like cranky because I don't have food or whatever.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when I do marathons, like I always because that's the other like secret of this stuff is like the longer you run, the like less you want to eat after. So it's like,
Mhm.
sometimes when I do like a marathon, like I'm just dead.
I
But
can't eat
I
after.
yo, so I always have just like a bag of Reese's is like always
Smart.
my go-to because I know no matter what, I'm going to be able to eat a Reese's peanut butter cup and I'm
Yeah.
going to be able to eat 10 of them and it's going to be delicious.
Mhm.
And as much as I'm nauseous, like you do need to like get food in, but like
Yeah.
especially in the summer, man, it's rough.
It's
Like it's
so
just like,
bad.
yeah, like last Saturday, I think like I like forced myself to eat like a little sandwich or something when I came home. And then it was like 6 hours later, I got hungry. And then
Mhm.
it's like, oh, now I am just ravenous
It's like
for
it
until like the next
nothing
morning. And it's just
yes.
like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nothing all day, and then, like,
Uh,
5 or 6 PM will hit, and I'm like, "If I don't
yeah.
eat in the next 30 seconds, I'm either gonna
Right.
pass out or I'm gonna start
Exactly.
screaming." Like, I was
Yeah.
like, "There's
Yeah.
no in between."
And it is like 30, like it'll just hit,
30
like it'll a lot
seconds.
of times be like a spot, like I stand up and it's like, oh, I am starving.
Starving.
Let me just order all the Ethiopian food in the Upper West Side and like,
Milano,
remedy this problem
everything.
immediately. Like, yeah,
Everything. I love
yeah,
it. I love it. Do you
yeah.
have a pre-long run, like, ritual or food that you eat?
So I I try like if it's like a workout long run, I
Mhm.
try to wake up early enough that I'll have like oatmeal and a banana.
Mhm.
I'll definitely do like espresso. Like I can't
I can't
like
run
I
without caffeine.
always need like a little bit of time. Like my Cat and Ryan, like my main two running partners, can wake up at like 6 o'clock and meet me at like 6:10. It drives me crazy. I wish I could do it. I just
I
like
know.
if we're meeting at 6, like I am waking up at like 4:45 to just like not be a zombie and
Yeah.
just like whatever. So like if it's like a real good long run, a lot of times like I'll just do like the oatmeal banana coffee thing, or
Mhm.
like I eat a lot like always like fueling when you run is non-negotiable. Like anything over like 10 miles, I try to like have some semblance of fuel.
Same.
But like the longer that I do this, like in races, I use the fancy gels and all that stuff.
Same.
But it was like when I started doing a couple ultras is when I was like, oh, you can like also just like eat stuff that's good. Like I eat candy
Same.
most of my runs. Like I
Mhm.
eat gummy bears are like the majority of my fuel. I buy like gels for races and stuff,
Mhm.
and like I do like the caffeine in gels are
Mhm.
like I think as important as anything. But like when I'm just out like doing a 20 or whatever, like I'm just eating a handful of gummy bears every
Yeah.
3-4 miles or
Same.
whatever,
Same.
and going for that. And sometimes like if I'm just doing like a quote unquote, like, I always feel weird like being like, if I'm doing like an easy 20,
I
you know
know.
what I mean? Like
I
just
know.
going on, just doing a
I know. I
casual, like
know.
easy 20 miler. Like for that, I'll just like eat an extra handful of gummy bears in the beginning and like try to,
Same.
try to be sad about that and just kind
Yeah.
of make it up as I go.
Same.
Um,
Always something before. Always.
yeah.
I've been trying the candy because for as much as you have to train for an ultra, I just cannot eat that many gels. Like it's
No.
something about it. Like I understand during the marathon, fine. Like you're racing, and like you need the gels, you need the sugar, and you need the carbs.
Of course.
Something about having that on a long run just grosses
Ugh.
me out. I think I have
Yeah.
like PTSD. I just can't do it. So I've been eating like gummy bears, jelly beans, M and
Yeah.
M's. The other day I had a Cliff
And
Bar. I'm like, whatever. I
right.
don't even care.
And what would it cost you like 1/20th of if you were
Literally.
like, using the gels? Like I buy like 5 pound bags of gummy bears from Amazon
Yep.
and then just like put them in plastic bags or whatever, like for my runs. But I'm like, all right, that was $6
Yeah, like
versus
instead of
like, that's like the
65.
cost of like a Morton gel at this point. You know what I mean? So it's just
Literally.
like, yeah.
It's
Yeah. So
so
it's one of these
insane.
things. And it's like, I'm not gonna say they're exactly the same, but like, and in a race, like if I'm doing
Street
like a goal
sugar.
marathon, I'm gonna have my gels. I'm gonna take them every 4 miles and blah 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 and all that stuff. But
Mhm.
it's like anything else, I don't care. Like
Yeah,
I'll
I
just
can't do it.
go out. Yeah,
I
and
can't do
it's like you said, like I did my first ultra was last January, so like 18 months ago.
it. Mhm.
I did Black Men Run, which is one of the run crews in the city, do a Ted Corbett like I think it's like around his birthday. Who like
Mhm.
Ted Corbett is one of the like names that they name races after in New York City. He was
Yeah,
like
yeah,
one
of
of the
course.
founders of all the organizations, like the godfather of marathons
Of
and like,
course.
this world. He was incredible. But they do a 50K from kind of like the opposite of my Warriors one. It like started in Prospect Park and then ended. It's called like Ted Corbett Place up in the Bronx. I think it's like where
Mhm.
he grew up or
Yeah.
whatever. And like, did this thing. So like, just kind of decided, I wanted to try the ultra thing or whatever.
Mhm.
And like doing that, I was like, I can't eat because also like doing that, I'm like, I'm gonna do it at not rate. Like I'm not gonna race
Not
it.
race
I'm
pace.
gonna go
Yeah.
out there
Yeah.
and run it at like easy run pace. And I'm like, I can't eat like 11 gels. Like
Yeah, like it's
I'm
just
gonna die if I
yeah,
do
like I'm
that.
gonna
Like
throw
it's
up.
just like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like it's gonna be bad news. So like, started like trying out other stuff. And then like, the more that you read, the more it's like, I don't know. Like I'm not saying gels have their purpose for sure. They
Yeah,
definitely like, whatever. But it's also like sugar and carbs, man, are like kind of what you need.
I
And it's
know.
just like you're getting sugar and carbs from like a lot of different things.
I know. No, I'm with you. I'm like straight candy, all
Yeah.
that right now during training runs because I just don't want to get sick of it. I just can't get sick of the
Nope.
gels. They gross me out, and I will
Yeah.
absolutely vomit. The other day, I
Yeah.
literally had one gel on my long run because I was dying on Sunday,
Yep.
like
Yep.
two
Yep.
of two,
Yep.
and all of a sudden I did that like little thing where I started like I was gagging and like I mean,
Oh yeah.
again, spare no details.
No.
As Eric, who produces my pod, likes to say on his pod, I was totally like burping out loud and my sister was
Yeah.
like, are you gonna make it? And I was like, I don't know. Like I think I'm
Yeah.
actually gonna she's like, are you good? I'm like, I think I'm actually gonna throw up right now. She's
Right.
like, because she was biking next to me and she's like, a bunch of my friends were back at the house and we were at the beach
Yeah.
and she's like, oh, they want to know if you want a bagel. Like they're like, do you want a bagel? And I was like, I actually want to vomit. But like, and she
Yeah.
just looks at me like, oh, okay, that's how the last 5 minutes of this is going.
That's so
um
great.
so yeah, I've transitioned away from that, of the gel from the gels. But yeah, I guess as we wrap up here, even though I don't
Yeah.
want to stop chatting because this has been so fun.
Absolutely.
Let's talk gear real quick. Like
Sure.
give me like your top five or top three gear recs, and then I would love for you to share. I mean, I know you've shared with me, but with the listeners, what races you have coming up, because
Sure.
I know, but I want them to know.
I think my go-to gear, like if I have to recommend anybody, is I'm a big compression socks guy.
Hmm.
So I very much like have found that they kind of help during like the longer runs slash like, marathons or whatever, like with cramping issues that I've had. So like I really do enjoy like the knee high compression socks. Plus you
Hmm.
can like get cool ones with cats on them and stuff. So
That's
it's like
sick.
super, it's worth doing. So like most races that I care about, I try to wear compression socks.
Hmm.
I have like my hair is short now, but like my hair just like grows like a weed. So like headbands are like a non-negotiable part of my like life.
You have the
And
coolest ones too.
yeah, so Treadbands is the brand. I don't know like anything about them other than they're what I buy.
Hmm.
But like when I was first doing like when I was first like training, I showed up for my first like Team for Kids workout in like mesh basketball shorts, a cotton shirt,
Hmm.
and like a headband like our fathers wore if they were like playing
Yes.
like racquetball. You know what I mean? Like one of
Like a
those like
sweatband, the classic
dude, like
sweatband.
literally like a sweatband. So Allie, I would run with
It's
like
so
no
good.
fuel on me. I would have no fuel on me because I didn't know what that was. But I
Hmm.
would carry 3 to 4 additional sweatbands in my pocket
I would
because
simply die.
I would have to switch them out every 2, 3 miles because I would just be dripping so much sweat. And then one day, like I saw somebody with like a different type of headband, and I'm like, oh, he wore that for the whole run. And
Yeah,
then
like
it's like,
what?
oh, if you just spend like $9 instead of 3, you can like
Yeah.
get a headband that actually like works. You know what I mean? Um, so I think that's like very, very integral for me on that. This is something I heard you bring up on a prior podcast, and I wanted to share an anecdote I learned. So
Tell
I'm a
me.
big Gooder sunglasses, like sunglasses
Yes.
for me, any run. And I remember one of my early runs, my friend Sabel told me that even squinting is like using muscles
Hmm.
and that when you're in something like a marathon, like that matters. Like it
Yeah.
might be the difference of 1 minute at mile 25, but we all know that like
It's a minute.
that's all you and I are trying to
I'll
do now,
take the
man. Like,
minute. That's
dude,
all
I
it's
think
down
I
to
got
for
like
us.
80 seconds my last marathon. I was like, I am the world champion. Like,
Yeah.
this is yeah,
That is
long gone
literally
are the
the
days of
world.
cutting like 15 minutes off of time. You know what I mean? If I can cut
Totally.
10 seconds here and there, I am thrilled.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
big fan of Gooders, big fan of just don't care. They're pretty high quality, but like
Oh yeah.
if I lose them, if I break them, I don't care if they're
Yeah,
$20.
they're like
You know what I mean?
$25,
Like,
like
yeah,
whatever. It's
yeah.
fine.
So like I think that's like a non-negotiable. Like unless it's like raining. Like I tend to wear like
Yeah.
sunglasses.
Yeah. That's new
And
for
stuff.
me though. I
Yeah.
was never, but I learned the squinting thing. Shout out to my friend
Hmm.
Rachel. She told me that like literally a week ago because we were talking about I went for a long run in Boston and it was going to be like it was the Boston 10K where like
Right.
50,000 alerts were going out as they should have. It was
No, of
perfectly
course.
planned that it was going to be like 90 degrees and 90% humidity. So I was like, oh, maybe I should go get a handheld and also maybe I should get some sunglasses.
Yeah.
And it helped so much. And I was like, wow, that's new. But no, go ahead. Any other recs?
So I feel like my brand of choice. It's because they sponsor my team. We are
Hmm.
technically Central Park Track Club, sponsored by Tracksmith, is
Hmm.
our official name.
I
So
love that for you guys.
yeah,
So
I'm a
fancy.
big Tracksmith fan. Big fan of my discount that I get of being a team member, which makes
Love it.
makes the yearly membership pay for itself basically.
That's right.
But yeah, like I do enjoy that. Like as much as I feel like we're probably among the more no thanks to me, but we are one of the more like competitive teams in kind of the
Hmm.
New York racing scene. I
Yeah.
also do think that probably we have the best uniforms.
They're so sick.
I'll put that out there. Like our uniforms are pretty badass, and
The
like
color blocking is so
yeah.
cool.
Like, oh man, they do such a good job. Like,
So
they're always
good.
working with us on that stuff. So, it's fun to kind of show up with that stuff. So,
Yeah.
wear my tracks and stuff. And then like almost everything else I wear, like I do all my runs in like $12 Amazon shorts or something. Like they're
Yeah.
just like shorts I found that like have a good phone pocket.
Yep.
And it's just like, okay, I am ordering 20 of these because
Yeah.
like that, like I always run with my phone and just
Yeah.
like
You
I
have
feel
to.
like, and I don't want to like have it in my hand. You know what So,
I don't know how people
um,
do that. I can't.
dude, it's
No, I
crazy.
mean, no shade. I mean, I guess like a little
No,
shade because I can't do it, but like no shade and no judgment if you do that. But I just can't. I feel like my hand would cramp so quickly.
I have a
if
buddy
I'm,
who will run a faster marathon than me with a phone in his
I
hand.
know, I know, I
And
don't
I'm
get
just
it.
like, I don't know how you're
I don't
doing
get
this.
it.
Like,
I don't
if
get it.
I'm like if I'm like holding a water bottle or something, sometimes I feel like it's like, oh,
Oh
I'm like
yeah,
holding an additional thing or like, whatever. Like this is
that's been the biggest change for me is the water bottle because I'm like a
yeah,
nothing in my hands. If it's
yeah,
shaking and it's in my pocket, it's going. Like it has to
yep,
go. I will toss it. I don't care. Like obviously if it's my keys, I'm
yeah.
not tossing it. But like if it's not secured and it's like jingling around, I will get rid of it.
No, absolutely.
But I'm so with you on that.
Yeah.
I find something and I buy 20 of them
No,
basically.
exactly. Exactly. And like for races and stuff, like I'll a lot of times like if it's gonna be like a hot race or whatever, like maybe I'll start with like a Gatorade in my hand, but like
Mhm.
something I can chuck.
And then
Like
just toss it.
I've had when I did Jersey last year, like I had a friend, my friend Teresita, like saved my life by just putting a Gatorade in my hand
Mhm.
at like, mile 15 or whatever. So
Mhm.
like I can do that, but something that I can get rid of. Like it's tough for me to hold a handheld for like an entire race or
Yeah, I
whatever.
can't do it. I can't.
Um,
One of my friends last year, another shout out to Muddy Soul. She got me a Mexican
mhm.
Coca-Cola for right
Oh
after
yeah.
the Queensboro Bridge, and I was like, "This is perfect." And she put
Yep.
them. She's so cute. She's the best. She put them in like the little water bottles and shook
Yep.
them up, and then like let all the air out.
Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
so by the time I got it, I like undid it and then drank it, and it was like the perfect size. And I was like, "Okay, bye, toss. Like
Yep.
it's over." But it helps, you know.
My friend Maddie, who's like one of the fastest people I know, like she's a very high level racer in New York City, like
Hmm.
flat Coke. Like she does
Yes,
like
yes.
the old school Boston Marathon, like,
Mhm.
1970s style before Gatorade. Like she's
Flat
just
Coke.
doing flat Coke. Like that's what she's going with.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I get it. Like, it's just like, whatever works is,
Mhm.
again,
I did it this
it's
year.
all,
I did
yeah,
that on the
it's
Newton
all
Hills.
sugar and carbs, man. It's
Mhm.
all,
I did it.
like,
I
yeah,
was like, "I need
yeah.
it." Now it's my saving grace, and it
Yeah.
helped so much. You
Hmm.
need that straight up. It's so good.
Yeah.
Are you down for as I'm thinking of these as I go through our pod,
Please.
are you down for, like, 3 rapid fire questions before we wrap up?
I'm very down for a rapid fire, but I need to just answer your question of my upcoming races because I have my
Oh my
race
god,
calendar
yeah.
pulled up over
That's
here.
right, that's right.
So I have luckily, so I just ran 3 races last weekend. So this
Mhm.
coming weekend is I have nothing, but then I have a 4 miler in the park after that. One of
Mhm.
the I love my road runners 4 milers. Like I qualify for the
Yes.
New York Marathon by doing the 9+1 program.
Mhm.
So like you need to run 9 races and volunteer at one. So like I love my Central Park 4 milers. They're
So
always
good.
fun and just
Yeah.
like most of them, I can do like a 3 mile warm up to the start line and just like do
Mhm.
it or whatever. So I have that. Then I have the Warriors Ultra, which is like can't wait for that.
And you're gonna
Greatest event
dress
of the
up,
year.
right?
Yeah, like we don't go as intense as
Mhm.
like some of the teams, but
Fair,
like we have
fair.
we're the Bloody Brunch Run crew because we're all like klutzes who like to drink at brunch. So that's like we have a pretty cool logo and stuff like that. So
That's sick.
we're doing that. Our team was 3 people last year. We're either gonna be like 5 or 6 this year. So we're growing
Nice.
as we go. But again, it was like such I ran into after the Achilles race, I ran into these two people, Stinson and Reagan, who like we ended up halfway through the race just syncing up with their team and ran like 3 hours together
Oh my
in,
god.
yeah,
That's
like
awesome.
middle of the night in Brooklyn. We got so lost at one point. It was so fun. Like,
Talk about
it
New York
was
community. That is it
oh
right
yeah, it
there.
was the greatest. It's like, yeah, it was very great. So then after the Warriors Ultra is on Saturday into Sunday, that following Friday, I'm doing the Take the Bridge
Mhm.
10 mile. Like it's their 10th anniversary. They don't like give you the course probably until like the morning of,
Yeah, it's like a
but
surprise,
they've
right?
said it's going to be like a 10 miler,
Okay.
which is like right up my alley. Like I
Yeah.
love a good like middle distance race. And then later that weekend is the team champs, which like I'm not a runner who's gonna like score for my team, but like
Mhm.
my team takes the team. Like there's a whole point series that go on that most people don't even know is existing, that like my
Yep.
friends are actively trying to win every year. And like,
I
it is,
respect that because it takes
yeah,
work.
it's phenomenal, and it's like it's great. And like my favorite thing is just seeing that, like, all right, yeah, we won the overall, but like also like our 80-year-old women are better than your 80-year-old women. Like our
That's so
team goes
funny.
deep when it comes to like, we have like, if you look at, we will be winning the 70s, the 80s, we have, I'm in the 40-year-old crew. We have two guys who are in the 50 plus who usually score for our team,
So
because they
good.
not only scored the 50, but they also were
Yep.
faster than anybody in the 40-year-old. Like it's crazy. But yeah, so team champs are a 5 mile race that New York Roadrunners does. It's
Mhm.
They keep it. You have to be a member of a run club, of one of the run teams, to sign up for the race. I think
Mhm.
like just now, if it's not sold out, they like might open it up to
Yeah.
like some people can run it. But it's really like, it's the one race where like A Corral is like 7 times as big as like
Yeah.
C Corral. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like people show up to like run it. It starts right on the east side of the 102nd Transverse. So like the most dangerous stretch that like you ever do is that first run down the 102nd and then turning into the Sisters, because it is, everybody is
Yeah.
trying to win. Like,
Yeah.
when I go out and did like Pride and Achilles, it's like, oh, I'm out here just having fun. I can like get into my
Totally.
own little groove. When you're doing this, it's like, oh, okay, I am the slowest person in this field, and like,
Yeah.
people are just going like crazy.
Yeah, and then the turn at the like out of the transverse
Yeah,
onto like into the Three Sisters, so sharp.
yeah,
Obviously, it's like a
like,
full left turn. You're
mm-hmm,
like, oh my god.
absolutely. Yeah, and then the one other race I have before like marathon time is, I think it's the day of your ultra, if I'm not mistaken, or it's like the weekend of it, is
Mhm.
I'm doing the Brooklyn Mile.
Oh
And
yeah, it
like,
is. It's the next day.
I
I'm sad.
hate I hate running my I hate a
Yeah,
short race.
I
Like,
know. I know.
I
I'm
am
with you.
I have run 3 mile races in my life. Two of them I got the exact same time, and one of them I got 4 seconds slower. Like,
Mm.
it's just, I don't think that I can ever do better than my 5:31 mile that I've hit twice. And
Yeah,
it's
like
just like, too many of my friends, it's very similar. Like, all my friends are running the Brooklyn Mile, and I just got jealous. So I'm like, oh, what's one more
I
race? You know
know.
what I mean?
Listen, I thought about
So
it just to sign up for
yeah,
the tote bag, if I'm being honest.
yeah, exactly. Well, that also
The tote
they have the
bag.
best year. Everything looks cool with it. Everyone loves it, and like says
Yeah.
it's great. So it's like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna do that one, and then after that, like, is, Wine Glass in New York.
Yeah.
Well, at some point, I'll figure out how to train for those. But
Yeah,
we're,
it's fine. It all like
yeah,
coincides, I think, or like mushes together. It's at a
yeah,
certain point
exactly.
when you're
It's
doing all this work in the summer, right? Doesn't it?
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
fine.
you
It's
know how it
fine.
is. I love it.
Absolutely,
So it's
absolutely.
safe to say your favorite distance is marathon? Half?
Okay, so that's I'm gonna answer that twofold. So like,
Mhm.
marathon is what like I care the most about, and
Mhm.
like I love marathons. I think it's also like, I've had like a couple races. I'm not gonna say I've ever had like a perfect marathon, but I've had like, of the 10 I've done, like two or three have gone okay.
Yeah.
And like, the feeling when it's like, oh, I ran like a pretty good one, is like the greatest thing in the world. And it's
Yeah.
like those
Yeah.
numbers, the round numbers with marathoning, I think like
Mhm.
matter to me. They don't matter to any. No one cares about what you do. But
Mhm.
like, in my mind, I'm like, oh, I did
Yeah,
this
yeah.
thing, and like,
Yeah.
whatever. Now, if I were smart, I think I would be like a 10 mile to half marathon guy.
Okay.
Like, if I like wanted to do like what I'm probably like best suited to run, and like what I really should focus on is those.
Mhm.
It's just, I love marathons.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it becomes tough. But like, my best like races are probably like my good are
Same.
like the
Same.
ones that I'm like, all right, that's like
Yeah. It's like next level.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
No,
like,
I love it.
yeah. So I think that that's the, but like, marathon is, it's gonna take a long time for me to stop like loving the marathon like I do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I'm with
Um,
you on that. I think half is
yeah,
probably my favorite. Just because you could
yeah.
get out there and kill it. Like you could just go for
Mhm.
it. And by the time you have like by the time you burn out, it's like over. So it's
Yeah,
like whatever.
and then
It's
you
fun.
feel fine 5 hours later. You're not
Yes.
dead and
Yes,
stupid for
yes,
7 days,
yes,
like with a
yes.
marathon. You know what I
Oh
mean?
my
Like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
God.
That's the
Yes.
beautiful thing is it's like, listen, when I do the Brooklyn Mile, I'm gonna feel like I ran a marathon right after, but
Right.
then I'm gonna be fine in
Hmm.
30
And yeah,
minutes.
yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like it's just
100%.
like that's the beautiful thing is it's just like you can recover where if you all out race a marathon, it is like, okay, I have now just mortgaged my next week
Yeah.
because I'm going to be useless tomorrow. And then 2 days from now, I'm still going to have brain fog. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And your stomach's gonna be fucked up for the
Oh
whole
my
week.
God. Yeah.
And you're like
Yeah.
not gonna eat normally for like 4 days. It's gonna
Or then
suck.
I'm going to like randomly just like order a pizza and be like, I have no appetite and then eat a pizza and
Exactly.
like ice cream and like,
Exactly.
yeah. So yeah.
Ice cream always.
It's such
You
a
know
fun.
my vibe. Ice cream
Yeah,
always.
yeah, yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, I have three burning questions.
Let's do
Rapid
it.
fire. I'm
Love it.
wanting to ask you.
Ready.
Okay, what is one thing that people might not know about you? Like an interesting fact.
An interesting fact. I've never had a cavity. So,
Ooh, that's a good one.
right?
That's a
Yeah.
really good one. I
Never
like
had a
that.
cavity. Coming on 43 years old. I've listened to my dentist. I floss. I brought, do all that stuff. So, I think that's something that I don't know if a lot of people know that about me.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people have never had a cavity either. So
Right. Yeah. That too. Right.
it's cool. It's cool. It's unique. Okay, if you had a guess, how many times do you think you've gone up Harlem Hill?
uh,
I mean, you might have to. We might have to actually do the math after this because
yeah.
I
I
really want to
mean,
know.
it's I don't
It's
know.
got to be like thousands,
It's
right?
probably like 1,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
because where I live in the so let me just talk about Harlem Hill for a minute and my love of Harlem Hill. So I do live close to Harlem Hill, so it does
Hmm.
make it that it's where if I do my normal loop, that's where I tend to end my runs.
Hmm.
But I will say to anyone that listens, especially if you're training for the New York Marathon, there's no better 1.4 mile stretch that you can like train on than the Harlem Hill Loop because
Hmm.
you get flat, you get intense downhill, and then you get intense uphill,
Yep.
and you just have to manage it. And like like I'll do a lot of my long runs. I just loop that thing, 4 or 5 times and then do my long run, or I love to
Hmm.
end on it. And then like when I'm in New York City training mode, I will do 18 miles and then I'll wind up at Harlem Hill and whip around that a few times to
Yep.
just like get my legs used to like running on the elevation and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's as much as the uphill is very beneficial, I think that downhill and the transition from downhill to flat is very
Hmm.
important, kind of, especially with the New York City
For
Marathon stuff.
sure. I always
Yeah,
tell anybody that's like, "What should I do to help me out?" And I'm like, "Just run in Central Park."
yeah,
So
yeah,
your advice is even better. But
yeah,
if they had a run in Central Park or they can run in Central Park, that's what I always tell people.
yep,
I love it.
absolutely.
Okay, last but not least,
Yeah.
if you could run with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be? It's a tough
All
one.
right, I'm gonna go with. I have two names in my mind, but I'm gonna go with Ben Gibbard because I
Yes.
think like we were both at the incredible Postal Service Death Cab for
Yeah, we
Cutie
were.
like show at MSG, which was like one of the greatest shows ever and like perfect.
So
And
insane.
then the fact that he was running Western States last Ben Gibbard is the lead singer of both those bands. He is one of the
Yeah.
greatest like musicians in the world. But the fact that he just randomly was running Western States this past weekend, which is a 100-mile trail race in the
Yeah.
Rockies,
Hmm.
like
He just does it. He just does
and
it.
he crushed it,
Hmm.
absolutely crushed it.
Hmm.
But like you and I were sitting back, like his like official little race photo with him just like there in
So
this thing. I was like, hell
funny.
yeah, man! Like
Like
it was so good. Like I was
what
so
a
that was
rock
such a fun
star.
thing to. Yeah, it was such a fun thing to see. So like I would
It's so
say
cool.
him, and then like Molly Seidel would be probably the
Yes.
very close second because it's just like when I first when I first started like really running, she won like the bronze medal like as
Hmm.
I was just starting to whatever. And then it's like the more that I learned is like, oh, you're like the coolest person ever, and
Yeah.
you like talk about mental health like in a way that no one else does that I
Hmm.
just love. Like I love her so much. So I
Yeah.
think like those are definitely my two go tos. But I got to go with Ben Gibbard for for this conversation
I
at least. You know
mean,
what I mean?
they're both so awesome. And Ben is,
Yeah.
for more context, yeah, he's the lead singer of both bands. And at that show at MSG, he literally played two sets back
No,
to
I
back,
know. So
one with
great.
each band, right? Like I remember talking about it and I was like, Tim, like this is
Yeah.
insane. Like he's just
Like
insane.
that Postal Service album was like the biggest thing in the world when I was in college. So you were
Mhm.
probably like a year old or
Yeah.
something. But like
But look at how it
that.
came around.
No, but like I lived for the summer after my sophomore year. I lived with my friend Brian, and like we had a CD player in the bathroom because there wasn't like
Hmm.
like stuff like that at that point. And like the entire summer, we had that Postal
Yeah.
Service
Yeah.
album was the only thing that was in there, and it's just like I have been like I love Death Cab for sure, but for me,
Yeah.
it's like that Postal Service album is like one of the few like perfect like beginning to end albums that has ever existed. So
It's so
you
good.
know,
It's
yeah,
so good.
yeah,
I love it. Well, I
yeah.
fully support that choice.
Mm-hmm.
But not that I want this to end because this has been so
No,
awesome. But I
absolutely.
loved this so much. Thank you so much for coming on the pod. I hope you had a blast. I
No,
know
it's
I did.
fantastic.
And I'm sure I'll see you running some loops around Central Park soon. One of these days, we're going to
Absolutely.
actually have to coordinate a long run. It's like half
Yeah,
commitment.
absolutely, absolutely.
I'll get
We're
up
gonna.
early.
I'm gonna make you join us for like our five bridge thing that that
That's
my crew and I
I
always like to
want to
do.
do that. Yes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
that's
for
going
sure.
to happen. But before then,
Absolutely.
I will definitely see you in Central Park.
Sounds
But
fantastic.
thanks for coming on. This has been great. I appreciate
Yeah,
you.
thank you for having me. It was so much fun.
Of course.